Don McCullin is a British photojournalist who was born in 1935 in London's Finsbury Park and is well known for his war photography and images of urban strife. He started his career in 1959 when a photograph he took of a local London gang was published in The Observer. Starting in 1966 and lasting 20 years, he worked as an overseas correspondent for the Sunday Times magazines, taking photos of ecological and man-made catastrophes such as war zones and victims of the African AIDS epidemic. Almost all of his photos are displayed in black and white. In 1968, Don McCullin was invited to photograph one of the biggest names in the music industry at the time, the Beatles. Here is one of his photographs of the four, titled The Family Portrait. In this photo, you see from left to right Ringo, John, Paul, and George, posing in front of what seems to be a rock wall. They seem rather comfortable with each other and even a bit silly. Notice Paul's mouth and John's hair. Despite looking very comfortable with each other, they all look rather stern in their expressions. Aside from that, the scattered light and outdoor lighting makes this photo seem comfortable and natural. The black and white gives it a classic look. The contrast between Ringo and John's outfits and Paul and George's outfits helps see them pretty individually. By all of them leaning into each other, it makes the photograph easy to view, being that if they are all comfortable in front of the camera, we feel comfortable looking at it. An example of one of his photographs involving urban strife is this one. The photograph is titled No Nazis in Bradford and was taken in Bradford in 1971. In the foreground, there are two children who both have the same solemn, upset expression. In the background, there is a dark brick wall with the phrase No Nazis in Bradford spray painted in white on it. There is little contrast in the photo, excluding the writing on the wall. This helps emphasize that writing and, despite it being in the background, draws the viewer's attention to it. By using scattered light, the photo keeps its black and white features crisp and keeps the main focus very obvious. With these elements, the photo shows the racism and urban strife occurring during this time and how it harms not just adults, but also children. This next photo is titled The Bogside, Derry, Northern Ireland, and was taken in 1971. This one shows police armed with riot gear charging into or at something off of the camera. By printing this photo in black and white, it gives it a classic look. By using a high shutter speed, McCullin was able to capture an instant of them running instead of their actual movements. This keeps the shot focused and concise. On top of that, this photo is angled such that they are running towards something that's outside of the camera's view. Without any context, this photo is left with a lot of interpretation. The adding of the woman in the white door frame gives a contrast to the dark uniforms that the police are wearing. It sets her apart from the rest of the crowd. This photo successfully shows the separation between the residents living in the area and the police force trying to keep the peace. An aesthetically evaluate photo of his is titled 7 Dew Pond by Iron Age Hill, Fort Somerset, and was taken in 1988. Different from his other photos, this one is a landscape photograph and does not have any people subjects featured in it. The scattered light helps show what the whole landscape is of. However, the pond is illuminated with this lighting and stands out from its surroundings. The black and white feature of his photograph helps highlight the pond even more than the lighting itself. McCullin is also using the bullseye method by putting the light pond smack in the middle of the photograph, drawing your attention to it immediately. Even though the main focus is of the pond, the photograph also captures the beauty of the rest of the landscape surrounding it. Don McCullin is an incredibly important photographer because he wanted to highlight the social issues and strife in his world around him, and he did just that. By taking pictures of what was happening around him, he helped the world see many unseen issues. McCullin uses his skills, knowledge, and a small amount of power to help show the world what is happening in places that they may never see.